Hello guys and welcome back. So with Borderlands news slowing down, seemingly because the game is delayed, I wanted to start covering more theories and speculation on the game, starting with Mr. Blake. But before I start, make sure to follow me on Twitter at Hayder for updates on videos and for Borderlands lore and info. So with that, let's get right into it. So Jeffrey Blake is the character's full name, even though he was mainly referred to as Mr. Blake. He was an NPC in the Borderlands universe, which stands for non-playable character, and was first introduced in Borderlands 1, Claptrap's New Robot Revolution DLC. And he's the Senior Vice President of Mercenary Relations and Tourism for the Hyperion Corporation. And in that DLC, he actually enlists the help of the Vault Hunters to help put down the Robolution problem. And after the events of Borderlands 1, he comes back in Borderlands 2 as just the General Vice President of the Hyperion Corporation after Handsome Jack takes control. They also mention that a lot of the stockholders and higher-ups in Hyperion were pushed away by Handsome Jack, which is why Blake kind of becomes his right-hand man. In Borderlands 2 though, he's never shown, but he is mentioned throughout the game, and we even hear some of his dialogue again. So, with all the background out of the way, now I want to talk about the theory part. So, in Borderlands 3, I think it's completely possible that Blake could take control of the Hyperion Corporation if he's still alive, which is obviously not confirmed. Blake could actually take a supportive role to the Vault Hunters. As I mentioned before, Blake was the VP of Tourism, so I bet he already has a good idea about Promethea, which if you don't know is the heavily teased planet for Borderlands 3. I have another video breaking down everything we know about Promethea so far. But not only Promethea, he also knows all the other different planets that we saw at the end of Borderlands 2. After Lilith touches the vault key, the map lights up and shows us all the different planets, all the different vaults. So if they do decide to bring Blake back, this would be a great way to utilize him, as he could give us context and so much more information about each planet, the type of enemies, which corporation is kind of running it. A lot of cool info, and could actually be a huge asset to the Vault Hunters. He has already met the original Vault Hunters because they worked together in the DLC in Borderlands 1, which could give him motive to reach out to Lilith or Brick, or the Vault Hunters could reach out to him for help. He probably wouldn't reach out to Mordecai due to Jack killing his bird, then he asked Blake for his small violin, so I don't see any sort of connection there, and maybe Mordecai would still be angry at him. But we know that Blake isn't an awful person. In the mission Uncle Teddy in Borderlands 2, he actually tries to save TK Baha and tells him to leave Pandora before the Hyperion assassins come, and he also does the same for Dr. Zed. So I'm not saying he's a perfect character by any means. He does kill Mr. Dimsdale, who originally ran tourism for Hyperion, but either Blake or Dimsdale were gonna get laid off by Hyperion. Suddenly, Dimsdale was stabbed in the back, and even though there was no evidence to commit Blake saying that he was the one that did it, he had a clean alibi and everything like that, it's still basically known that he did it to save himself. So I'm not saying that he's always a really good character, but it does seem that he has a soft spot for the Vault Hunters and the company they keep, so like TK Baha, Dr. Zed, everything like that. Something else worth mentioning is I would say that the general consensus is that the player base doesn't want Hyperion to return as a villain again. That doesn't mean that we want them completely removed from the game. We still want to get Hyperion missions and lore, but we want to learn more about other corporations, mostly Malawan and everything like that, the super interesting ones that we know nothing about. Which is why I think it would make so much sense for Blake or Hyperion in general to start working with the Vault Hunters, so it kind of takes them out of the equation for being villains. What I would like to see in the perfect world is a 5-year or just a small time jump from the ending of the pre-sequel, which is where the Iridian saves Athena's life from Lilith and the shooting squad. So we see a 5-year time jump from that moment to the beginning of Borderlands 3. From that time, the Vault Hunters have started working with Hyperion, most notably Mr. Blake, to track down all the vaults recovered from the vault key. And the main role Hyperion plays is mostly just transportation, due to Hyperion still having to recover from all the incidents on Pandora. The Vault Hunters finally decide to visit Promethea, against the wishes of Mr. Blake due to a lot of rogue Atlas soldiers probably still inhabiting the planet and an intense Iridium presence, plus whatever is in the vault, if there still is anything left in there. And I actually have a whole idea for what a time jump could look like in Borderlands 3 and why it actually might benefit the game. So if you guys would like to see that video, make sure to drop a like on this one. Let me know if you guys would like to see Mr. Blake return, and if Hyperion should play a supportive role in the game instead of an adversary role like they have in the past. Make sure to subscribe to this channel for all things Borderlands, and see you guys in the next one.
Where's your birdie? Your little birdie friend?
Tina, we told you what happened to Bloodwing.
So anyway, she's so cute. Where is she?
Let's just play the game.